Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review and demo of the new Tarte Clay Stick Foundation. So if you guys are curious about this foundation and want to see how I applied it on my face today, then just keep on watching. So I'm so excited that Tarte just released a stick foundation. It's available on their website and also on the Sephora site. This is a $39 foundation and you get 0.32 ounces. So it's a pretty good deal. A lot of other stick foundations are 0.25 ounces like the Hourglass foundation, my Anastasia foundation. So the price range is pretty much a little bit up there, but it's not like crazy. And I really like stick foundations. You guys always see me using my other ones, the Anastasia and the Hourglass. So I was really excited they were releasing a stick foundation, and this actually only comes in 12 shades. And a lot of times Tarte will do like a launch of certain shades and then add additional shades, which can be really annoying because there's more than 12 shades in people. They definitely need to release more shades because it was really hard for me to find a good shade. I actually ordered two of them. I ordered the shades Fair Light Neutral and Light Medium Neutral, and I'm wearing Light Medium Neutral. This is a perfect match for me, and I'm NC25 from MAC. The Fair Light Neutral was like 2 shades too light for me. And I also have really warm undertones, so I'm going to swatch both of them for you guys. And I would say this is probably like an NC15, the Fair Light Neutral, which is the third from the lightest shade. So all the shades range pretty light because the shade that I am is like halfway through, which is kind of crazy. But this is Fair Light Neutral, so that is very, very fair. You guys can see that is definitely too light for me. I don't know why I picked up a foundation that had fair in it, but the Light Medium Neutral, yeah, this is the one that was a really good match for me and what I'm wearing today. So the shade range is definitely limited, but I was able to find a good shade with Light Medium Neutral. I keep messing up the name, but it's Light Medium Neutral. If you're NC25, that's what I would recommend. And the other shade, Fair Light Neutral, was really way too fair for me. So that is a shade that was matching me the best out of all 12 shades. And they do seem to have more neutral and warm undertones in their shade range, but they definitely are limited, and hopefully they do release more soon so more people can try out their foundation. So that's definitely a con. There's only 12 shades so far, and especially for a stick foundation, you don't want to be mixing because that's just going to be a little bit complicated. And the claims of this foundation, it's matte, it's supposed to be a weightless finish, natural looking, and buildable, and it's supposed to melt into the skin. And for me, I found that all of those claims were accurate. I've been wearing this foundation for several days now, and I haven't had any issues with it, with wearing, how it applies on my face. I've been really happy wearing it. So I'm gonna go ahead into the demo so you guys can see how I applied it on my face today and just my thoughts as it's applying. All right, so I just prepped my skin with a Too Faced Hangover X Primer, which is basically just a really lightweight moisturizer. It doesn't do anything to make my makeup last longer. It doesn't fill my pores or anything. It's just hydrating to start off, and it's been a few minutes, so it's sunk in. And I'm gonna go in with a foundation in this shade Light Medium Neutral, which has been a perfect match. I'm gonna start with half of my face first so you guys can see the difference with foundation and no foundation, and then I'll go in to the other side of my face. And I'm using a brand new beauty blender. That's why it's so colorful. I just took it out of the packaging and dampened it. So here's the side with foundation versus no foundation so far, and they pretty much look very similar. It is more of a light coverage when you start off. You guys can see like around the edge of my face, you can tell there's foundation, but in the center, some of the redness is still peeking through. I think when I'm head on, you can see probably a little bit more redness on this side compared to this side, but it's definitely not like a medium coverage or full coverage, definitely not right off the bat. So I'm just gonna apply more around the center of my face. And it might look like I'm going in with a lot, but the Beauty Blender does absorb a decent amount of product. So I'm going in with more than if I were using like a brush or something. So now with a second layer, you guys can see there's definitely more coverage right away. And that's normally how I apply stick foundations anyways. So that would be like the coverage I normally put on. I'm gonna add a little around my nose. You guys can see it takes away some of that redness right away. So that's as much foundation as I'm going to put on this side of my face versus the no foundation. You guys can see that it's not matte or anything right away, which I actually like because it doesn't, it still looks like skin when I'm applying it. So I'm going to go in to the second set of my face. And it does blend like really quickly and easily, but you don't have to blend it out right away. Like if I leave that there for 2 minutes, it's not going to be all dried up like some foundations. It does have a really creamy finish when applying it, but it's not super creamy after the fact once it's blended out, which is awesome because it doesn't leave your skin oily or anything. So it's like the perfect consistency when it goes on because it's really smooth. But then once it's blended out, it doesn't feel like slippery or anything on my face. I feel like on this side of my face, I don't even really need that additional coverage. I'm just gonna go in with a tiny bit. But I think because my sponge did absorb some of the foundation, I don't need as much as I did for that first side. So here's what the foundation looks like once it's all applied on my face, and I do really love the finish. I've been wearing it for several days, so I do have my full thoughts about it. And I like that it's more medium coverage. You can build it up, and you guys know I really don't like full coverage foundations, but you could definitely build it up, and it doesn't feel cakey anytime that I've tried that and added more coverage to certain areas. It doesn't start to feel like really thick. So I really like the finish because it's not super matte. It's matte enough where you're not going to get oily throughout the day, but it's not so matte that it doesn't look like your face anymore. Like, I feel like this still looks like my skin. Like, you could tell I'm wearing makeup, but it still looks like skin. It doesn't look like a layer of paint on my face or anything. So I really like the finish just on its own. It's been like 3 minutes. Still a little tacky, but there's no like residue coming off. And sometimes with like really creamy stick foundations, that tends to happen. It feels like you just put on like cake batter or something on your face. So I love the finish once it's applied. And actually, I've gone without setting this foundation in the days that I've been testing it out. I wore it like this to the gym this morning, and I forgot that I was wearing foundation. Like, I didn't feel it as I was working out or walking or anything. I didn't feel it on my face. I didn't feel like, oh my god, I need to take this off or anything. So I definitely love the look of this foundation, the finish, and anytime I've done a full face over this foundation, everything just applies really smoothly. It doesn't feel like too heavy once the rest of my makeup's applied. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off my face, and then I'll get back to you guys with my final thoughts about this foundation. So with the rest of my makeup done, I've really been liking the finish of this foundation. I've tried it out with a couple different primers, the Smashbox Hydrating, the Hourglass Mineral Veil, and then today with the Too Faced Hangover RX, which is really lightweight, and I've liked the finish every single time. Like I said, I've applied it just on its own, just to try it out for you guys and see how it is when I'm like going outside, going to the gym, and I just don't feel like I'm wearing foundation in a good way. Like, I don't feel it on my face. I hate that feeling. Like, I'm wearing glitter on my lips, I'm wearing blue eyeshadow, but I hate a lot of foundation. Like, I hate the feeling of just cakiness, especially for the summer. I feel like this will be a really great foundation. And I do have drier skin. It's more normal to dry. I use so many hydrating products, so I never have like excessive dryness. But for somebody who has more dry skin, I didn't have any issues with this foundation so far. I love the Anastasia stick foundation. A lot of people find that really drying, but if you find that drying but you like the coverage of it, I think you would like this foundation because when you go to apply it, it's so much easier. It's a lot more creamy. It's a lot more blendable right off the bat. I always use the Anastasia foundation with some oil in it just to smooth it out when I'm applying it. But with the Tarte foundation, it's really creamy when I'm applying it. There's no like resistance when I go in with the actual stick. It's super easy to apply and blend out. But then you have the benefits of a more matte or demi-matte foundation. It never feels like completely matte on me, but in a good way where it still looks like skin. It doesn't look like a lot of product on your face. So I really like the finish because it doesn't leave me oily. It doesn't leave me too dry. I would say it's a little bit more on the dry side compared to like a dewy foundation. I do have a little bit like around my nose. It looks a little drier, so if you do have dry patches, I would go in with an additional moisturizer, primer, and an oil on those spots because it might end up looking cakey there, but on my more dry skin in general, it doesn't look dry overall, which I really like. So overall, you guys can probably tell, I really like this foundation. It's really ideal for me. The formula is really perfect for what I like in a foundation, and I know I'm going to be wearing it a lot this summer. I'm also excited to try it out with some facial oils. You guys will probably see that a lot in my Instagram tutorials coming up. So definitely let me know if you've picked out this foundation, if you plan on picking it out. Let me know what your thoughts are so far on it, if you have tried it out. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
We go.